Hi, my name is Enya and I'm currently a fourth year at Brighton in Sussex Medical School. But I've wanted to come to BSMS since I was about 12 or 13 years old, and this is because I took part in a scheme called Brighton, which is part of the BSMS outreach programme, and this is where children from widening participation backgrounds are encouraged to consider medicine as a career. And because of this, since about 2011 I've been attending the medical school for lectures run by the medical students, and I realised that I really enjoyed the topics I was learning about. But not only that, I realised that the students seemed really happy, they seemed like my type of people, and when I looked into how I learn in the curriculum here at BSMS, it suited my needs perfectly. My top tip for medical school interviews is just to be yourself. It may sound cliche, but it's true. At the stage of interview, yes, they want to see the qualities of a doctor beginning to form in you, but also they want to see you. They'd much rather see you than some rehearsed answer that anyone could give them. Personally, I had a lot of passion for certain subjects such as anatomy and surgery, and I really let these shine through in my interviews, and I think that made me come across as quite genuine and is part of the reason why I got in. My main tip, as someone who also gets very nervous for interviews, is to take a deep breath in between each station if it's an MMI, and just take a sip of water or something before you answer the question if you're in a panel interview, and that just gives you a bit of time to form the answer in your head rather than letting all the words come out very quickly and not really knowing what you're saying and then coming across as quite disorganised. So take a deep breath, don't let the anxiety cloud who you are, and let your personality come through. I always say that by the stage of an interview, you've already proven to them that you have the minimum requirements to get into medical school and be a good doctor. They already want you, and your interview is just proving them right. So I joined the medical school as a mature student after doing an access course when I was 21. And I joined the medical school during the COVID pandemic, so I had quite a different transition to university than most people normally would have. Even though I was a mature student, it was still my first time leaving home, and I would say that my biggest challenge personally was learning to balance all of my life admin tasks alongside the medical school curriculum. Luckily, content-wise, I didn't find it too bad of a transition, because the first part of first year is module 102, which is Foundations of Health and Disease, and because BSMS accepts students from such a wide range of backgrounds, whether that's access courses, gap years, straight from A-levels or graduate students, it's taught at a slightly easier level, just to get everyone to the same level of foundation knowledge that they can then build upon in the later modules. So content-wise, it wasn't too bad, but for me it was learning to manage all of the life admin alongside that comes with moving out for the first time. So for me, the best thing about living in Brighton is the variety there. So obviously Brighton is a city, and in the city centre you have everything that a city has to offer. So that means there's always something going on, and if you want to do something you can always be busy. But for me, I'm not really a city person, so I love the fact that we're surrounded by nature. We've got the beach right on our doorstep, where I love going for sea swims every week, and then we've also got the South Downs National Park surrounding the campus, and that's great if you just fancy a walk after lectures to decompress and de-stress, or me and my friends quite often go camping as well, just to remove ourselves from medicine for a bit. So my favourite place on campus, I've got a couple. So when we're looking at the Falmer campus, where you are in phase 1, I would say that I do really enjoy being in the medical school building. There's a couple of places to study, everyone else there is also all medical students, and it just means that it's a really good environment to get work done. Food wise, they've just redone the Eat Central, which is the main restaurant on campus, and that's now a bit more like a food hall. So they have lots of different restaurant vendors there, and there's a good variety of food. There's also the budget options, which as a widening participation student, I really appreciate the fact they've got it. So you can always get a meal for £2 or £3, which means you've got hot food without having to worry about preparing it in advance. When we look at the phase 2 campus, which is at the hospital in Brighton, then my favourite thing is probably the study pods at the AUB library. I quite like having to put my head down and fully focus when I study, so being in a library environment and then being in a soundproof study pod really helps with that. It's also a really good environment for studying because, again, everyone else there are either medical professionals or medical students, and you're surrounded by medical textbooks, so you can always find the help that you need from the library staff there. So my favourite place in Brighton and Hove, I have quite a few and I'm still finding new places every day. I have a list of coffee shops that I absolutely love. One near the hospital called Marmalade is great for when you're on placement. I also really enjoy going out for meals, especially at Shelter Hall with my friends. I think when you've got a big group of people that all want different things to eat, it can be difficult, so having food halls where there's loads of different restaurants and everyone can order what they want is really great. And I also do really like Hove. I think most people focus on the Brighton aspect, but as I said, as I'm not a city person, I really like slightly smaller towns, and Hove is lovely. My favourite thing about BSMS is a very easy answer. BSMS is made because of the people in it. When I applied, BSMS was the top of the student satisfaction tables, and as someone who has had their grades impacted before by other things happening in their life alongside their studies, it was really important to me that I knew that no matter what I went through, that the staff and the other students there would support me. So that meant a lot to me, that they have such a good student support network here. I think on top of that, I already knew a bit because of seeing some of the BSMS students previously when I was in the Bright scheme, but the other students are all very welcoming. So from your first day in Freshers Week, you get allocated your medic family in the year above, and all the older students are very happy to try and help you. They're happy to answer your questions, happy to give you advice on, you know, oh, I like to go to this place to study, or oh, make sure you look at this folder on my studies to make sure you get the advice for the assessment. And I just find that everyone here is really happy to help, which is great because I think medical students and getting into medical school is so competitive that I think sometimes it can be quite a toxic environment, and that just isn't what BSMS is like. A load of us create free revision resources and share it. We all try and help each other out. No one wants anyone to fail, and I think that really shines through in the type of people that go here. Am I involved in extracurriculars? I think the easiest thing would be to answer which ones I'm not a part of. I'm a big fan of extracurriculars. It's the one piece of advice I always give students applying to medical school. It does not matter where you go, you will get a medical degree, and it's your experience of those 5 or 6 years going to that medical school that really matters. For me, extracurriculars and societies are a really big part of that. So sports wise, I've been involved with BSMS medic netball team since I was in first year, and we've got quite a few medic sports teams, which is really great because although we can join the sports teams from either Uni of Brighton or Uni of Sussex, the medic teams tend to understand our schedules a lot more. They understand that we can be on placement until 8 PM in the evening and sometimes can't attend training. So I really enjoy doing that. It's a great way to relax and also to socialise through the different year groups. On an academic side of things, I am very involved in anatomy and surgery. So I was vice president and then president of the BSMS Anatomical Society, and I helped revive that. I created completely free revision resources, so that's quizzes of hundreds of questions that got distributed through all the year groups so that they could revise from them. I also created the anatomy school trip, where members of the anatomy team come and join, normally around over 60 to 100 students, for a trip to the London anatomy museums. And I normally create a revision booklet for it, so you get to go on a school trip to learn about some more anatomy that we don't necessarily get to see, which is great. And then I'm also quite involved in the surgical side of things, so I was part of the Surgical Society, part of the Plastic Surgery Society, and now I'm the medical student representative on the Women in Surgery Forum for the Royal College of Surgeons England, so that's for the whole of the country. So I get to go to meetings and put forward the views of medical students from across the country and try to organise some cool surgical events to encourage more women to get into surgery and stay in surgery. So my BSMS highlight, it's very difficult to choose. I'm in 4th year now, so there's been a lot of highs, a couple of lows, but a lot of highs. I would say that I've got an academic highlight and a personal highlight. So academically, it has to be my involvement with the anatomy and surgery teams. The anatomy team saw that I was keen and passionate about the subject from day one, and they've supported me ever since. So not only was I president of the Anatomical Society, but I've also been for 2 years now the BSMS anatomy team student rep. So I help organise student volunteers for anatomy teaching, for our anatomy outreach events. As part of that role, I've also put together anatomy research that I've then presented at national conferences, which I've really enjoyed. For me, anatomy was a big part of why I came to BSMS. We've got a well-established anatomy team here, and as part of our curriculum for anatomy, we teach that via cadaveric dissection. And we're very lucky to have our donors that allow us to be taught in this way. For me, wanting to go into surgery when I qualify, it's essential that I build up the muscle memory of those practical skills early on. And I'm also a very practical, very hands-on, very visual learner. So for me, learning anatomy in that way was vital. And I'm really glad that I chose to come here because of that. With the surgery team as well, again, I showed that I was keen and passionate early on, and I've got to do extra surgery, going in and having extra placement whenever I can fit it in, and they've also been really encouraging to me, which has been great. So they've encouraged me to get involved in extra research projects, in bigger roles, so like my role on the Royal College of Surgeons, and I've been really lucky and privileged to do that and have their support. From a personal highlight point of view, I think again it's just the people at BSMS. I feel like for one of the first times in my life I've found people that really are my people. Brighton is just such a welcoming place. The people that go to BSMS are just very friendly, very welcoming, and I feel like that no matter what group I'm put in, I'm always happy to be there, and I feel like that can be quite a rare thing, especially in larger medical schools when you don't know everyone in your year. We're quite a close-knit year group, I'd say, and again we then have those communities that span across the year groups, like the netball team or the other sports teams, or you know, when I do the anatomy work, I'm working from years 1 to 5 and intercalators at the same time, so it's a really great experience to be in such an amazing community of people. My top tip for prospective med students, you could not pay me to go back to my medical school application days. You are going through one of the most difficult times in your life, and I think my main advice would be to give yourself grace, give yourself some care. I think it's very easy to be swept up in the stress of it all. There is so much you're doing. You're doing your A-levels, you're then trying to do volunteering work, your work experience, you're trying to build an insight into the role. On top of that, you might have your hobbies and your family or part-time jobs to attend to. And I know that when I was applying, I got completely burnt out. several times because I was trying to manage all of this alongside things that I had happening in my personal life. And I wish that I had just told myself to take my time, to focus on one thing at a time, and that if you keep your passion and you keep working hard and you keep your love of the subject, you will get there eventually. So I think you just need to, it doesn't matter if you need to take a gap year. For me, it actually helped because I got to put some money aside, which made me less stressed when I got to medical school. So just, as annoying as it is, everything happens for a reason. If you keep pushing and you keep working hard and you keep doing what you love, then you will end up in the right place for you.